but is it every grandparent's duty to offer a free babysitting service?
Big question, because we have 10 grandchildren between us, so we've got quite a spread of ages. And I think, wrote a book actually about grandparenting some years back, and the biggest research showed that when your daughter, for example, or your son comes along, we're going to have your first grandchild, you're so pleased and it changes your life. And if your daughter, for example, says, Mum, would you look after the baby because I can't afford child rearing services, and would you, of course, darling, I'll do it, of course. And statistics show that people rush into it because they're so delighted about having a grandchild.
Emotional.
And then they discover quite quickly that if you're of a certain age and you might be retired, that 5 days a week is full on. That's full on at any age, but it's full on. And so really, the end of my research showed that if you're honest about it, and if you say to your in-law or your child, if you say, look, I'm going to be absolutely honest, I'd love to do it 2 days a week. I can do it Tuesdays and Thursdays, but really I need the other 3 days for myself.
What if you don't want to do any?
Pardon?
What if you don't want to do any?
You're not popular.
Yeah. They just want to come round pop round for a cup of tea.
Well, that's what my mum said when I got... if one more person says to me, am I pleased about being a grandparent, I can't be held responsible. And she didn't want to do anything. Of course, in the end, she did loads.
Yeah.
I couldn't have just carried on without my mum. But I do think it's your right, if you're a grandparent and you don't want to do childcare, to say no.
No, I do. And also,
some grandparents can't be on hand.
And also, if you are going to rely on the grandparents to be your carers so you can go back to work, do you think they should offer to pay for that?
Well, I think if you were doing it 5 days a week, it's a job. And I think really you should pay something towards just the cost of food or petrol or, you know, just everything that goes with it. But if it's 1 or 2 days a week, it's your joy to do it. I mean, honestly, it does change your life and I love it. But I think there are other ways that you can say thank you and show your appreciation. You know, maybe a bunch of flowers or maybe a bit of a holiday along with you sometimes.
I think you have to consult as well. I mean, a friend of my mum's who was very happy to look after her child's first child was absolutely devastated when her daughter came and said, oh, we're pregnant again. Because, of course, she knew that there was no other childcare, so she now has 2 children. See, and I think that's completely out of order.
So do I.
I get a lot of letters from grandparents who feel very, very guilty, who get very... because they've been asked, they know it's the only way that their son or their daughter can go back to work or whatever, they can't afford full-time, and they feel very, very guilty saying no. But
they shouldn't.
They shouldn't really.
No, it's not.
They've done that.
It's not part of the job description.
The thing is, I feel like sometimes the conversation's never had. It's just expected. Do you know what I mean? Like just
like my mum's friend. Here's another one.
Just because my mum is my mum doesn't mean that she wants to look after my children 5 days a week.
What you're underestimating is the joy that you have as a parent when you hear that your child is going to have a child, and therefore you get caught up in the enthusiasm, and you wanted it. And there'll be grandparents who get in touch with you today. I know they will, to say, look, I look after my children. I absolutely adore it. I love picking my grandchildren up in school. But sometimes those people might live in a more rural area where they're handy to the school. You know, their family lives just down the road and it's convenient. But the distance factor for some people rules it out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have my mum live next to me. I mean, I had to look at childcare. So when my mum came down, it was a real joy.
Yes.
But also, my mum's, she's hilarious. So I expect my mum, when I wasn't there, I'd call her down for a week and I'd be like, oh, Mum, did you read a story to them? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, what did you do? She goes, they were in the garden playing. I just watched telly. That was her idea of it. And I thought, fair enough. I can't expect her to, educate them and all that kind of thing.
Well, what about then discipline? Do you think grandparents have a right to...
My mum's a nightmare.
To discipline?
So I said to her, Mum, do not give the children sweets. Do not give them, please, no Ribena, no orange juice. And she's like, yes, I understand. It's all okay. And then when she leaves, under the pillow, there's a whole bag of sweets, all the wrappers undone. She's been feeding them midnight feast. And it's like, but exactly.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I do think that as a grandparent, one of the joys, again, is spoiling your grandchildren, because you don't have them every day. In the main, you don't have them every day. But it brings onto a very good point of discipline.
Yeah.
And I've been through a lot of situations. I think if you're on your own with the children, of course you have to discipline to a point, even if it's only a danger aspect, don't touch that hot stove or come away from, that water you're going to fall in, whatever the case may be. But we are all guilty, I think, as parents to think that we're going to continue with our grandchildren,
Yes.
disciplining the way we did our children.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No.
Because
No,
you're
that
likely to
doesn't
hear,
work.
sorry.
We
Mum,
don't do it
my
like
We don't
child."
do it like that.
don't like
Yeah, you can't do it like that.
My mother-in-law is a bad grandma, and in like no, like in bad grandma, because she's so naughty and so badly behaved that she
sounds great.
Yeah, that my daughter just. Is because she's always correcting her behaviour, so she's really matured. So she comes for a sleepover and she only wants to eat Wotsits, you know. So and you know she only wants to drink fizzy sweet drinks, and she won't have a proper dinner. And you can hear her, and she gets those sweets, those great big bag of jelly sweets, and I can hear Kiki saying, "Your blood sugar's going to be high all day. You've got to eat something pop." And then you'll hear Kiki going, "Language, Nanny Di." She swears like a trooper.
Oh, Nanny Di sounds great.
Yeah.
does.
Do you really need all those pills? Because Nanny Di's got a whole carrier bag of medication that none of us are too sure she needs, I have to say. And so by default, she disciplines her. And it's a really, you know, she's a really good sort of counterintuitive role model, really.